Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to MansaTek Mindset Mondays. I'm your host, Victor Adatiba, and we're back for another episode. Just a little something to try to help you get your Monday, your week off to the right start. Today's topic is vision. Vision. Vision is defined as the faculty or state of being able to see, right? And so a lot of times when we think about vision or talk about vision, we're talking about physical vision, right? Your eyes. What can you literally see? But for me, normally when I talk about vision, I'm not talking about your eyes. I'm talking about vision as it relates to, how would you say, being able to see or believe things that aren't currently visible to the naked eye, right? And so that looks like vision as far as the goals that you're setting, vision as far as where you want to be in the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, vision as far as things that you want to accomplish in the future. And so sometimes for people who have vision that is too far ahead, or people who are visionaries, as I like to call them, right? Sometimes visionaries can be ostracized. Sometimes visionaries can be made fun of because they see the world in the way that it could be and not as it is. There's a quote or a saying or a speech that I listened to. It might have been Myron Goldman, but I don't want to misquote him. But basically said that the present is the only aspect of time that is almost non-existent, because the past is always the past, and we can always think back and reference a specific time in the past. And we can also do the same with the future. But when it comes to the present, even before I finish saying the word present, this present moment has already passed. And so many of us are living in this present fleeting moment that it's difficult for us, or in the past, right? So many people living in the past, what was, but also in the present, that a lot of times it makes it difficult for us to think about or see the future. And so when you've got people who are making provisions for the future, oftentimes they can get laughed at or made fun of. Makes me think about Moses in the Bible, right? When Moses was building the ark because the flood was coming, right? He received word or vision or communication from God that the flood is coming. You got to build your ark, you know, this many cubits by this many cubits and this high, and bring these things on the ark with you. The people around Noah, as they were building the ark, would come and make fun of him, right? Because they didn't have a vision of the future. I think back again to the Bible, when Joseph, right? Joseph had visions and dreams of his future things happening, right? He talked about He had a dream where his brothers bowed down to him, or their stalks of, I think, wheat maybe bowed down to him, right? And so his brothers were angry and jealous, thinking, why would our younger brother believe that we would ever bow down to him, right? And so Joseph's vision for the future and his whole demeanor so angered them that they originally plotted to kill him and later ended up selling him into slavery. Not knowing that this path for Joseph was ordained, that his path was already, his steps were already ordered. Fast forward many trials and tribulations and many tragedies and years or even decades later, and Joseph is the king of a very powerful nation that has stocked their grain houses or warehouses in preparation for a famine that was coming. Don't let me misquote the Bible. I don't remember if it was a terrible winter or a very terrible summer with a huge drought that was coming up. Let me do my Googles. Famine, yeah, years of famine. So Joseph stored up quantities of grain, like sand in the sea, because of a famine that was coming, that was going to affect all of the surrounding nations. And so the dream or the vision that Joseph had many years earlier was that his brothers would come into his kingdom and bow at his throne, seeking provisions, seeking grain from him that they could take back to their father's land. Right? That's vision. Nobody could have predicted that, but Joseph had that vision far in advance of it ever happening. And so I want to come and warn everyone about things that can cloud your vision, right? Because sometimes we have a vision, but we don't necessarily act on it, or we don't have faith on it, or our vision is clouded and not exactly clear. And so I'm going to give you a few things or ways to look at this so that you can clear up your vision. Sometimes it can be difficult to determine what you're looking at or see a clear path forward if you're too close to your vision, right? I don't know if you guys have ever been to New York City, right? I remember the first time I went to New York, attempting to look at a building like, I don't know what the super tall buildings are down there, right? But to a country boy like me from Texas or from Nigeria, who grew up in Texas, every building in New York looked large to me, right? So I can remember standing down at ground level, attempting to look up. And sometimes you look up and you get dizzy trying to look up, right? Because the building is so high. So if you are too close to a building or too close to anything, it can affect your vision or how you see that thing. Same goes if you're too far away, right? That's why we've got binoculars. That's why people wear glasses, because of near and farsightedness. But if you are too far away from a thing, you're so far removed from it, your vision can be cloudy or out of focus, which takes us back to one of our previous Mindset Monday topics. Sometimes things can be out of your peripheral, right? Or out of your field of view, right? A lot of times people are so focused on kind of what's in front of them that the things on the peripheral or on the side is tough to see, right? We call that a blind spot when you're driving, right? That's why it's not enough to simply look at your mirrors in the car, right? Your three mirrors. Sometimes you got to do a full turn, a full about face so that you can see the things that aren't visible to you in your peripheral, right? I think they call it defensive driving, right? Driving in a way that protects you from potential dangers or potential drivers. Sometimes your vision can be obstructed, right? So sometimes it's not necessarily your, let me say, direct perspective, right? So there's not something wrong with the distance of how far you're looking or how far away you are from it or whether or not it's outside of your field of view. Sometimes your experience can obstruct your vision, right? Sometimes we haven't experienced enough life or experienced this type of situation before. So this is foreign to us and we don't view it the same way someone with a little bit more experience, someone who's a little bit older, more seasoned than us would see this same situation. Think about my parents and how parents are always often critical of their children's friends, right? And as a kid, you think, oh, my friends are my friends. I love my friends. We're best friends. We're going to be friends forever, right? But oftentimes, because parents have lived a little bit more life than we have and seen things from different perspectives than children have, they can use that experience and that discernment to say, hey, that friend isn't going to lead you down the right path. That friend isn't a good influence on you. Our parents' vision is different because of their experience, right? So they view things differently than us. Sometimes the people around you can obstruct your vision, right? Hanging around friends who have a negative attitude, a negative outlook on life, or a limited perspective, right? You go to some friends and you ask them for advice on starting a business, and if this friend has never started a business, they may laugh at you. You go to some friends who maybe have only ever done things that are not legal to earn an income, and they may make fun of you for having a 9-to-5 job. In other circles, friends who may not have ever gone to college or sought out higher education might make fun of you for spending time in the library or for being a diligent student, right? So sometimes the people who are around you can affect your vision, not just negatively, but sometimes positively, right? I know I've had many friends in my life that have been positive influences on me to help me change my outlook, change the things that I believe are possible, and help eliminate some limiting beliefs that I've had about myself or about my circumstances. People, people. The people around you are very powerful and can affect your vision. There's a quote that says, and I'm probably going to butcher this, but I'll just talk about it in the story. I won't try to quote it directly, right? Actually, no, I might be able to quote it. The great urban philosopher and poet Sean Carter said, hey, I'm gonna misquote him. I don't want to do him like that. Let me get it right. Let me get this quote right. So the song he says it in is Hovey Baby. He says, they say a midget standing on the giant's shoulders can see much farther than the giant, right? So I won't necessarily say that I'm a midget, but a man or a person standing on a giant's shoulders can see much further than the giant can, right? That's vision. A lot of times you would look at that giant and say, wow, they can see much farther than me. They've got a totally different perspective, right? But oftentimes, if you can make friends with a giant, right? If you can change the people who are around you, if you can lean on the understanding of the people around you and you get the opportunity to stand on those giants' shoulders, you can now see even further than what the giant can see. And so people around you, the right people around you, can and will definitely affect your vision. The last thing that I'll talk about that can obstruct your vision is your current situation. Oftentimes, if the current situation is bleak or negative or adverse, people's vision can feel like this is always going to be the same. My situation will never change from what it currently is, right? Oftentimes, sadness and sorrow can beget more sadness and sorrow. And on the adverse, oftentimes when you are winning or when you are experiencing success, you can feel like that success is never going to end, right? But neither of those is really realistic because life is about ebbs and flows. It's about up and down. So sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, you win some and you lose some. And so don't let your current situation cloud your vision about what reality is. Self-awareness can help in all of these situations, right? Do you know that you have a blind spot? Do you know that your perspective may be clouded? Do you know that the perspective of the people who are around you may be clouded, right? If you've got situational awareness or self-awareness in any of these situations, it can help you understand that your perspective may be off and that you may need to seek a different perspective, or you may need to wait until you enter a different season of your life for you to truly see things as the way that they are. Visionaries see things as they could be and not as they are. Visionaries see things as they could be and not as they are. But great visionaries are also blessed to be able to see a path to getting there. Because it's one thing to be able to see things as they could be, but it's another thing to be able to lead or guide people on how to get to that new place. And so the question I'll ask you is, do you know where you want to go? Do you know what you want to achieve? Do you know how to get there? Do you know how to achieve these things? Do you know somebody who can guide you there? Is there a giant's shoulders that you can stand on? I'll encourage you to write the vision and make it plain, whatever that vision is, whatever that destination is for you. Write it down and make it plain so that you understand the vision. And then from there, you can start working backwards on how to get there. vision. All right, y'all. That's it for today's MansaTek Mindset Mondays. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Down in the comments below, write your vision. What do you see, right? What is your goal? What are you aiming towards? What is not currently in front of you that you see out ahead of you that you look to accomplish? And how do you plan to get there? I invite you to come visit us at scrumlife.com on YouTube, where you can check out some more of our MansaTek Mindset Mondays videos. Keep your eye on the prize. As long as you know what your goal is, as long as you can see the vision, as long as you write the vision and make it plain, you can achieve it. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful week. See you guys next Monday. Peace.